Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Film Fumblers podcast. Today, we are going to be reviewing Robocop, a movie released in 1987 and directed by Paul Verhoeven. So, without further ado, I'm Adrian.
I'm Jay.
I'm Taryn.
And I'm James.
All right. So, our last episode, a little more on the mellow side. We're gonna turn things up a little bit. We're gonna go back to the shot.
Oh yeah.
So we've been missing.
What are you guys shooting on?
I wasn't able to get any liquor.
Wait, what's that?
I wasn't able to get any liquor, so.
Oh shit, you bastard.
Yeah.
Chug your Corona. No, I got Tito's right here.
Tito's? All right, I'm drinking some bourbon.
I got Tito's as well.
Oh,
Nice.
dude, you should have told me I had Tito's. All right. Let's go. Cheers, boys.
Cheers,
Cheers.
everyone.
Cheers.
Clink.
Ooh.
Nice. I'm gonna crack this cloud real quick.
Drinking Founders All Day IPA.
Claus, drinking a little old-fashioned here.
Claw for me as well.
Nice.
No laws when you drink in some claws.
Okay.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
Yeah, I wish. You would think. So, RoboCop. How do we feel? So, who's seen this movie before we just watched it? I watched it today.
I also watched it today. I saw this when I was maybe like 12 or 13, but I don't think I saw the whole thing.
Oh jeez.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it for the
I
first
realized,
time this
like,
morning.
I fucked up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, James?
First time viewer. Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing: is so there's what, two versions of this movie? Because there's is there two ratings, right? There's
Yeah. Like the unrated
Yeah.
version,
How do
which is still, I think, rated R. And then back then, I guess they used to call it X-rated, or maybe NC-17. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be NC-17, so they toned it down to R so they could release it.
Yeah.
How do you know what version you watch? I honestly don't even know what I watch. Is there I wonder if there's a particular scene where it's just
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
there's a website that actually shows what happens in the regular R-rated and then the unrated version. And it's basically, it was only like maybe 4 scenes, and it was just a lot more gore.
Yeah, it was hard because the unrated one is 1 minute longer than the other one, so I'm like,
yeah,
how did it change?
It's only
an hour and 42 minutes, I think, and then 43.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I watched it off Alonzo's Plex server,
Yeah.
and it cut out like at 30 some minutes, and so I feel like, and then I had to watch it on Hulu, so I feel like maybe I saw one version and then swapped to the other one, and then I don't know it. Because it seemed a little bit toned down, like gore-wise, compared to what I saw in the beginning.
I could
was
tell
like,
you
holy
the
shit.
scenes.
What is it? Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, do you have?
It's when RoboCop gets shot in the face, and when he gets his hand blown off by the shotgun. Those aren't in the original. Like, it doesn't show like the fucked up ass hand. And then I think
brutal,
I think the big what's his name? The big robot that fucking just keeps keeps blasting at the guy. I think that's toned down quite a bit. There's not like 2 minutes of straight just
So is there other shit, or it's just those two?
Those are
I guess the end where the guy is in the acid. That's probably the only other brutal thing.
Oh
I
my God.
Yeah,
thought of.
maybe, yeah.
Okay, that was in both. Well, I saw what you're talking about because it's kind of in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
and that was on the Plex server. And then I swapped, but I saw the toxic stuff too. So maybe it was the same. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's get right into the pacing of this movie. This movie starts out, and it's just instantly there's shit happening. So 10 minutes, I think it's a 10-minute mark. You have Ed 209 introduced, who is the actual robot droid thing that they're trying to pitch to be a police force.
Yeah.
And I did not see that coming. I don't know. So it counts down as okay, you must comply within 20 seconds, and then he drops it. And it's like every movie where they have the bomb's gonna defuse in 15 seconds and they get it on the last second.
Dude,
And that did not happen here.
Man.
Oh my god, I was expecting the same thing.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
favorite part about that scene, because the dude is like destroying this guy, right? Pa, 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 like lighting him up with like a mech
Yeah.
warrior, basically. And
Some Metal Gear shit.
yeah, and it's some asshole in the room after the gunfire like settles goes, "Call the paramedics." I'm like, "What the fuck? Call the paramedics?"
Don't touch him.
To be
Dude, it's
fair,
so funny. Okay.
Oh my
sorry,
God.
to be fair, like after RoboCop or what's his name, Weller, is completely obliterated, Tropic Thunder style. Well, this, they still get him onto a hospital bed, and like he was shot through the head and like just completely riddled. So
what happens
Crazy.
out? I know.
later on, so
I thought
maybe
the
they have
same
better
thing.
technology. And
So
when is it?
okay,
Wait, hold on. So that scene where the guy gets annihilated or whatever,
Mhm.
on YouTube, somebody made a cut. I guess there's a behind the scenes of him, like, getting shot and like this,
Riddled,
but
yeah.
it just ends, or like the scene doesn't end, and he's just like still alive, and it's like the title is like the guy lives or something, and he's just like, what the fuck?
oh my god.
It's so fucking funny.
Oh my gosh.
It was supposed to be like dystopian time, right?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So
The beginning before that scene, even all the TV shots and stuff,
Yeah.
that shit
here's an
like
interesting
set it up so well. I think.
Here's an interesting bit. The very beginning news. What is it? What does the newscasters say? She says, "You give us 3 minutes, we'll give you the world." Something like that. And it was. I feel like it was a play because I mean, this is 1987. It was a play about how attention spans are just going to dwindle into nothing. Where the news is 3 minutes long,
Dude,
which is
yeah.
interesting because that's kind of happening, but it's also kind of not happening because podcasts are huge now and they're long format. I mean, you don't listen to a 4-minute podcast, you know. So
Hey, we could end right now and we'd be right on time.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming. No. But yeah, so that was interesting. I think if you Google it, it'll say that RoboCop was based in 2043. I couldn't find anywhere like super specific, but yeah, so not too far off, 20 years. So
Yeah, and just like the way that the newscasters didn't react to like this crazy ass like brutal news and stuff. It's just like that's just the day. That just happens every day.
I know.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
one of the like newscasts was about the Star Wars thing. Like
I rewinded that. I was like, what did they say?
It was an actual thing that Reagan wanted to do, which was send a bunch of satellites up into the atmosphere or whatever up there, and they had laser beams on them so that way they can shoot down missiles. Like it was like a crazy ass like idea that he had, and I think later on in the movie, like somebody gets fried by that thing.
Dude, yeah, it's like
it's
40
fire.
people with like two former presidents die.
Yeah,
It's like, holy
yeah.
shit.
it's they had vacation homes where it was like where the fire.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
So it was like in the future, but like some of that news was based probably like in the times, I guess, right?
That's
Right,
really cool.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man. So 15 minutes into the movie, we have our first car chase, and that's what was really cool about this movie. I mean, even right after like the Ed scene. By the way, I love how the two guys. So when they go into that meeting, there's 3 of them, and then like they're in the elevator, and when they're leaving, is it just 2? Did one of the people that were in the elevator just get blasted? Is that one of their buds? And they're like, "Oh, sorry about or like sucks about Gary," and they're like, "That's the corporate world."
That's the guy that got fucked up in the room.
by the fucking.
How just nonchalant like and casual.
Oh yeah.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, it's hard out there in Detroit, man.
Yeah. So 15 minutes into the movie, you have our first car chase, which is just wild. How you have, what's her name? Officer Ann. What's her last name? Nancy. No, that's the actress's name. Anyway, the girl she's driving, and then Weller just gets out, dual wielding, and is like, "We're taking this van down." It's just like so over the top, so ridiculous that these cops are just going to be chasing like solo dolo chasing this armored van, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, Officer Lewis, that's her name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lewis, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So like, there's a few things where I mean, I guess on some level, I realized that I haven't even watched an 80s movie in a long time. So,
Mhm.
like, at the very beginning, the logo just, like, smacks the screen, and it looks like
So
like an
cool.
arcade game or something,
Yeah.
right? With melted.
It's all
And then,
brushed metal, kind of.
yeah. And all the, like, little, like, title card things, that would come up.
Yeah.
And then this car chase scene, I was just like, oh my God, I forgot how over the top, totally
Yeah.
ridiculous 80s
so
movies were.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's so
You're just
cool.
gonna hang out of the window and dual wield at this van just straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an 80s movie. It's happening.
And all the villains had sawn-offs the entire movie, except for the end.
And ridiculous facial hair, like lines that were.
I think
Do you guys recognize the main bad guy?
Yeah, but I don't know what he's from.
Smith, dude, he's red.
He's
Red Foreman.
yeah, from that '70s show.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
it. Holy
Look at
crap.
that.
So crazy.
So bad that it was like I watched like 480p. It was so terrible that the first like 3 times he was shown, I was like, is that? And I finally Googled it. I was like, that's Kurtwood Smith. Okay.
Dumbass.
I never got what I wanted.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, I know this guy, but I don't know what he's from. I never watched a lot of that 70s show, but now it's 100% clicking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Gosh, ridiculous. So car chase happens. They end up in just again over the top, just completely stereotypical 80s bad guy bunker where it's just I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. You just know, you picture it in your head. It's dark. There's like water everywhere for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. Dark and dingy. And...
Yeah.
Right.
So
Some shitty TV and some drugs and
couch that they
shit.
found in a dumpster. Like it's ridiculous. And yeah, you're like, okay, these are bad guys. Like we know this deal.
Yeah.
And there's always that like music that's just like boom down boo. Like you get that feel that it's like
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to like in the 80s, how was that as cheesy as it is now? I think there's an aspect of like it's kind of satirical, and I think
I
they know
felt
that.
yeah, I
Dude,
felt like
this
this
whole
movie
is-
Right.
this movie was very like on the nose. Like they played into that kind of really cheesiness of the 80s.
Yeah,
But like
it was
they
interesting. Go ahead, finish that.
but like they make it just so fun. They make it so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
you're just along with for the ride. Like like you said about vaping vampires. You gotta let this movie take you, man.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just gotta
Yeah.
you just gotta let this
Yeah.
movie take you. And it takes you places.
Dr. Sleep, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's kind of the genre of some of the movies from the 80s. It's you know it's ridiculous, and it's kind of like what is it called, Bollywood now, where it's
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's ridiculous, and you just
it's
feel like,
ridiculous,
that's what
but
it
they're
is.
like serious about it, right?
They're aware of
Like
it.
they still tell the story that they're still like in it, but it's still so ridiculous. I think that's what makes it super unique, because
Well-
that's a lot like what's the movie with the Triceracop and the Kung Fu?
Oh,
guy?
Kung Fury.
Kung Fury.
Kung Fury.
It feels exactly like an 80s movie for those reasons. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, it's funny
ahead.
because there's so much like satire and over the top, but there's also still a story to be told about like capitalism and like over corporatization of things, and just how the dystopian future is going to look, and a lot of it is kind of playing out. Like they're privatizing insurances, and the police force is completely owned by a corporation,
Yeah.
and it's just there's still a message there,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that though. I was so surprised by this movie because of that. Like I was like, it gets into it. It's like this girl. This is gonna be like some stupid like romance that doesn't need to be in the movie. Blah blah blah. Like all this crazy cheesy stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like legitimately had some funny shit in it. Like that was supposed to be funny and not funny because it's cheesy. You know what I mean?
Right.
right.
I
Yeah.
was like, damn, this is a lot better than I thought it was gonna be because of stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I agree 100%. It felt like really fun, like James said. Like it was a
Yeah.
fun movie, but like not like a ridiculous. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to like quantify that
Because
in
it is
today's world.
ridiculous. Like
It is ridiculous, but
Right.
there's no like today's version of
but
it.
like
you know?
it still felt real. Like in a sense, like you have all these futuristic robo cops and all this shit, but like they
Right.
kept like those old school cars. Like
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
the
Robocop
only like
getting out of one of those
yeah.
was funny every time. I was
like
like,
they
what
had
the fuck?
they had like the
The
SUX what was it called, the SUX 3000.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was hardly even like futuristic, so it like kind of kept you grounded. Like it
Yeah.
felt realish in a way, in a weird way. It was kind of strange.
I agree.
How did you guys feel about the female protagonist character, Anne Lewis? Like when we meet her, I think the first scene we meet her, she's just kicking some bad guy's ass. Like she gets in a fist fight. With
She's
dude.
she's fighting with some other cop or something, like in the
No,
academy,
it's someone
right?
they're booking. I think
Yeah.
they're booking someone, and the guy they're booking,
Oh, okay.
like sucker punches the male cop that's on her, and she ends up kicking his ass,
Mm.
which was cool. I was like, yeah, like the '80s had powerful female figures, you know?
Yeah, that was super surprising because
cool.
I thought I was like for sure there's gonna be some weird romance about this, even though he's a fucking
Right.
robot and shit.
Some
But then like
He was
unnecessary
married already too.
yeah. See, I didn't, or that was cool too.
You didn't
Just
know
the way
that
it
yet.
turned out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
she
like,
was
this is awesome.
She was set up as a badass right away, and then like it totally shifted gears kind of after that. Like,
What do you mean?
So like, you know, she's a badass, and she's like, he's talking about how he drives first or whatever. They like have a little bit of like flirting and shit,
Right.
and then they go to the coffee shop or whatever, and I think she steals the driver's wheel and gets in. And then after that, it's like, okay, they're clicking, they're vibing, and then the rest of her like play in the movie is like this more affectionate side of her towards him, and not necessarily as much as the badass that we saw initially.
Yeah.
But I think that was
Yeah.
like an important to show, like she's not
Yeah.
one who just like catches these feelings so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end, she did also shoot that guy with that ridiculous gun who was in the crane. You know, she didn't really do it in time necessarily, but
That's true.
It
She's still a
establishes
badass.
like the buddy cop thing. There's like the camaraderie and that kind
yeah,
of
camaraderie is a good.
that profession, I guess.
Right.
Like Trina said, and maybe we projected romance onto it because we're so used to romance being in this type of film and this type of relationship with a
Yeah.
That's an
woman.
interesting
Yeah.
idea.
But I mean, you could just make the argument that this is just camaraderie, and this is just how these two people would shoot the shit with each other while they're, you know, kind of busting each other's chops. I mean, in the beginning of the movie, there's the locker room scene where there's women who are topless in the locker room with men, and it's
Right.
not sexualized at all. It's like, you know, so it's not
That's
going
cool.
there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
so
cool. It was
there's like
aggressive.
yeah, it was cool. There's a 20-minute documentary that I watched. I think it's a preview for a longer one that they're making, but about the Robocop or whatever. And that actress was talking about how she used to get letters back in the day from like young women and stuff like that are just like so happy, like, oh my god, like it's so cool to see like this badass woman on screen and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Huh.
even
That's-
back
that's
then,
cool.
and
Damn.
I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
it's always been important, right? We're just paying attention to it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we go. So we were at the bad guy hideout with the couch they found in the dumpster and the half-working TV. We have Officer. Gosh, I keep forgetting his name. Officer
Murphy.
Weller.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Peter Weller.
That's the
just
actor's
gets-
name.
What's the
Murphy.
Oh, Peter. Oh, is it
Yeah, it's
Murphy?
Murphy.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Murphy,
I'm sorry.
remember?
Yeah.
Oh,
At the
yeah,
end.
yes. Peter Weller is the actor's name, I'm sorry. So I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, he just gets completely dumpstered. What is his punchline before he gets destroyed? I'm taking you with me, dead or alive, or like you're under arrest,
Yeah.
you're going with me, dead or alive, which is like a very cowboy western type thing to say, but also
Yeah.
very 80s action.
He likes to
Which is-
spin his gun.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got like that western element to it, which was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know what else has that? Side note is The Mandalorian. Very
Oh,
like
yeah.
western, where it's just like, I'll take you dead or alive kind of vibe, and like it's just
Just
Right.
want to
like
say that. That's funny.
he literally said, yeah, and it's like pretty much the same line
Space
from
Cowboys.
Mhm.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, so he gets blasted.
It's wrecked, dude.
Very,
Completely obliterated.
very. Okay, so like I was like, all right, that guy just got fucking gunned up by the fucking big robot.
Dusted.
And then now the main character's fucking hand is just blown to shit. Like, holy shit. I was not I wasn't even expecting that first guy to die that brutally. And then this they just like show his face like straight up shot open. Like,
that was crazy.
That was pretty.
The shot to the head was like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
I was like, okay, he lives in some sense of the word, so they're gonna leave it a little bit open ended where he's like, gasping for air as they leave. They shoot him in the face. So, I mean,
yeah, he's pronounced dead. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, which brings it to the next fucking. I thought the scene where he dies. Yeah. Was so cool. Like that 5-minute scene where he's dead.
The first person?
Yeah, the first person you see him living through his final moments and like his life is flashing before his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's dead. Like, and they say like, what time is it? And because they're pronouncing him dead. And then you just see the screen turn on again and it's just he's a robot.
Dude, I love that fucking sequence so much. Because it skipped a lot of time that needed to be skipped in such a smart way. Like, oh man, that was so cool.
No, it was very intelligently done, I think.
Yeah, it was, and what I thought about, like, a lot of the effects in this movie were like, the big mech was like obviously like kind of like
stop motion.
Yeah, stop motion.
Yeah.
But the other effects were like pretty fucking good. Like this whole screen,
all the visual overlay of like the first person stuff, like little zoom in X. Little green lines identifying stuff.
Yeah, dude. So that was in that documentary too. How they were making those things or whatever. Because they couldn't have done that digitally or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They asked the guy. He's like, "What computer did you use, or what computers did you have on set?" And he's like, "Well, I had a calculator to do my taxes or something." They fucking hand drew like almost all of that shit. It's so fucking cool, dude.
That's
and then just like laid it over, especially like what he was saying, the crosshair when it like kind of closed in on the guy's outline, like when he's targeting him.
Yeah,
that was all hand drawn, dude. It's so cool.
What?
It's so smart. This movie won the Oscar for visual effects or audio effects. Sorry, I fucked that up.
Okay, audio effects. Well,
audio effects.
The sound was.
That's another cool story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So okay, here's something that when I was reading through, I read through a little bit of the Wikipedia page about this movie, and I read a movie title that, in some weird ways, made me appreciate this movie a little bit less, and it's Blade Runner. Blade Runner was released in 1982, 5 years before this movie.
True.
So, I mean, if you kind of compare, granted, Blade Runner's budget was more than double this movie's.
Oh.
But if you compare the two movies and you're like, Blade Runner is holy shit, it's mind blowing the way what they do for sci-fi at that time compared to a movie 5 years after.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was kind of like, shit, I shouldn't have ever looked at the name Blade Runner being compared to this movie because it's gonna maybe not make this good for me. Still great, but
Yeah, but I feel like the Blade Runner, it doesn't hit the cheesy mark. It's not the same.
It's not trying to. Yeah,
Right,
you're right. It's not trying to, and it's not. It's a different thing entirely, for sure.
I 100% see what you're saying, but it is different.
It's like when I talked about in The Shining, where I said The Shining was released in 1980, Halloween was released in 1978, and Halloween is a joke comparatively speaking, but they're very different movies.
Yeah,
very different movies, just like this, just like these are the same. They're both sci-fi. They're both set in a dystopian future, but very, very different films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about Blade Runner at all. I just kept thinking about
I didn't until I read
Terminator.
Yeah, robots.
Somewhat. Yeah,
just robots and shit. Humanoid.
A lot
robots.
closer in year, I think. Too.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Those. So there was the visual effect aspect, but the practical effects, like his leg opening and the gun coming out and shit, that was like super sick for the time.
That was in the documentary too. There's people that had strings attached to his leg that like pulled the things out, and then he would just put it in, and like you could see his hand push it in, and then they would close it. It's like so cool, dude.
I was watching this and I was like, I want to be Robocop for Halloween. That would be way too expensive of a costume, but
they were saying I read a thing that took him like 8 hours to get him into the suit.
Originally,
or something like that. It took him like an entire day to like get into the suit, like
hours to get into the suit,
to like get everything perfectly like the way they wanted it to, like the initial first time they did it.
I heard
and then
that
eventually they got better and better over time.
Yeah, I read that they had that in the suit was just overwhelmingly hot. It was like 100 degrees in that suit, and he had a specific. The actor had a specific like team of people that would fan him down in between scenes. It was just overwhelmingly hot, and they eventually put in like a fan on the suit. But yeah, I could imagine.
Damn. Yeah, like going back to like the practical effects, the makeup or whatever you want to call it, where he's in the suit but he doesn't have the helmet on, like at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That was so sick. Like it looked so good.
Okay, this ruined it for me. Okay, when I first saw him, I was like, wow, this does look really cool. Like we're gonna see him without his helmet on. And then he took his helmet off, and I was like, that looks like Macaulay Culkin as an adult. And it
What the fuck?
Well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with Macaulay Culkin?
So random.
Now I have no beef with Macaulay Culkin. He's great, and I love Home Alone. But Google, there's fucked up pictures of Macaulay Culkin where it looks like he's not
Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay crackhead.
Literally look that up right now and compare that picture to Robocop without a helmet. I was like, oh man, it was awesome.
That's hilarious.
I can see that.
It was cool. Like the back of his head was really cool. And
yeah, you couldn't tell where his face ended and like because it like wrapped around a little.
Like wrapped.
And part of it was just like, why do they even keep a face on this guy? I don't know.
I thought he just didn't have like eyes or anything.
Right.
Yeah. And when they shot that hole in it and I kept seeing his eye, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. I
Dude,
guess.
that's so weird to think about. He's just fucking dead the whole time.
Yeah.
He's actually dead.
Right.
So weird.
I guess
but that's another thing. Is he actually dead?
Right. Exactly. And I was
dead.
the argument he made is the reason that he still has a face, the reason he still has eyes is because it makes him human. And I mean, at the very end of the movie, he's asked what his name is, and he says Murphy. Like, you know, it's a very big thing where he's getting some of his humanity, and it's Robocop isn't a bad guy, and he never really was, but he was like not a person. He wasn't a guy at all.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a full robot either.
Right.
And I think that was like it was a weird way to do like a really forward thinking like idea around the concept of like the singularity without like, you know, having to be like all serious and like douchey about it, like Robocop, right? It's fucking, it's golden.
Yeah.
Robocop, it's hilarious. But the idea, right, of like man and technology fusing in that way is still like a very like high level crazy thing to think about.
Yeah. But they did it. They did it so well. Like you said, you didn't need an extra hour of explaining, like how that's a sort of controversial subject there. You know,
right?
Robots taking jobs.
Well, and similar to Blade Runner. Maybe now that you said this, it's gonna infect me. This entire show is over. Sorry. The memory aspect is a big part, right? Yeah. That's how they kind of play on that. And he's got memory, and he's got a few other things. But yeah, it was really interesting.
Right. What are we if not our memories, right?
Yeah. And it was a seamless way, like you're kind of saying, James, of doing that without like having to explain anything.
Yeah.
Well, just look at the movie title in general. Blade Runner. You don't know what a Blade Runner is. Like, what is a Blade Runner? If you've never seen the movie, it just doesn't make sense. You know what a RoboCop is. You don't need to explain anything to you. You know what the fuck a RoboCop
is. Yeah.
That sounds like something I'd get in a Happy Meal. RoboCop.
Right. Yeah.
But like, just even like the end of the movie, they didn't like linger on the fact that things were settled. All he said was Murphy, and the movie fucking ended. I was kind of like caught off guard with that. I was like, looking around, was that it? I was like, no, that I really loved it. I was like, you don't need the extra 25 minutes wrapping up the scene. I don't need to have a little hint. I've never seen RoboCop 2. I don't need to see that Anne is turning into the female RoboCop. I don't need to see that. They just kind of stop it. And you don't need to see that 25 minutes.
Right.
It's fine. I liked it.
Did anyone
that was really good.
Did anyone else think of the end of Star Wars where, what's your name? Ray. Ray what? Skywalker.
I blocked that out of my
my
mind,
gosh.
so now I don't.
I never think.
Oh, I thought of
never
it.
think of that movie.
I thought of the fucking I am inevitable. I am Murphy.
I did like that ending. Like when they asked
Dude,
him, like, "What's
so
your
cool.
name?" I was like, "Oh, I think he's gonna say I'm Murphy or whatever," and then he did, and I was just like, but I was sick that it was
Watching
over
the video
too.
version.
There's like a continuous pog from before that when he's like, "You're fired" or whatever, and he's like, "Thank
Oh,
you."
yeah.
Boom! Like that was so cool.
Ridiculous.
So
Okay.
sick.
Yeah.
So let's talk for a second about the three. Do they call them directives?
The directives,
Three
yeah,
things.
Just, yeah.
the prime
Did that
directive.
remind anyone else of the movie iRobot?
I don't have memory.
I haven't
of
seen
I
that
haven't
movie
seen
in
that.
years. It's been years,
iRobot
dude.
has a similar. I didn't look this up, so I probably shouldn't have even brought it up. But iRobot has a similar like rule of thing. It's just like, do know. It's like the
It's like Law of Robotics or whatever.
right, and it's like the Hippocratic Oath, where it's like do no harm and treat humans well.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's what the robots are supposed to do, and that's so yeah, which was kind of interesting. And then there's of course the fourth hidden directive, whereas you can't arrest an executive, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then just the simple fact of saying you're fired like casts the spell that allows
So
RoboCop to
Yeah.
done,
Damn, I love it.
Yeah.
which is just so does not make any sense, but it's okay.
But
Like I didn't care. I was like, all right,
But
okay.
it goes back to like the human element of law enforcement, like
morality and what
morality, and
Right.
you see that Murphy's being tugged on two strings when he's fighting with Red Foreman. I don't know his name. He wants to
Red Foreman,
he
yeah.
wants to kill him. He wants to kill him because
Right.
that
He killed him.
Yeah, because he killed him. He's trying to get revenge. But you know what's crazy is the computer overkicks his compassion.
Yeah.
It overkicks. It's like it's like he needs a fair trial or whatever. It was like the third
Right.
one, and it stops him, and he's
That's
like, "Oh
mode.
shit, yeah."
He almost does
yeah,
it, right?
Yeah, he has him in a
Yeah.
chokehold. So I would say that's the human in him. That's the human
Yeah.
in him, really trying to
I like
choke
it.
him out. Yeah,
right.
But
yeah.
that like, I could keep going on. I think I'm gonna talk about that more in my like final review. But I could go on about like this struggle between the morality and the coding. What it says is what it
Right.
says. The absolute one
Right.
equals 1, 0 is 0. Like I could go into
Yeah.
that a lot. Like
No, that's huge. I mean, that's what we're going through with today. There are there are RoboCops, right? Like, what's the little mall buggies or the ones that are that
in Japan, yeah.
drive around in the parks? Don't we have them in the U.S. too? Or,
I don't know.
or maybe
What
I
are
don't know.
they, drones?
They're not drones. They're like little they're
Like
they're
robots?
little Roombas that like are bigger and they drive around and they say like don't litter. Like I saw a story
Yeah.
about
Comply.
how they were
20 seconds.
What? Everyone quarantine was just like stay indoors. Like it's just weird. I mean,
Yeah.
but it does beg the question. You know, can you teach? Is everything so cut and dry where you could just teach something? This is right. This is wrong. No.
No,
The
no.
answer is no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And they play with that dichotomy in this where it's
Yeah.
you have human elements and you have computer elements. and
It's probably like
right.
my favorite like little co-story in the whole movie. Like one of my favorite animes is Psychopaths, which it's like a dystopian or utopian future where everybody has this thing that monitors their passion. If you get too excited about something, it's called the crime coefficient, and it turns red, and it notifies the police to like, yo, you can't be too excited about one thing. Like you can't get too mad, you can't get too anything. Like everyone's just chilled out, and like
Yeah, that's
fucked
I
up, dude.
really love like these types of movies for those who don't know, I went to school for criminal justice. I worked in the field for about 6 or 7 months until I said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." And yeah, that we've actually had a ton of conversations about like those kind of RoboCop things, and like, oh, what about the utopian futures? Like, just it's interesting, and then also the militarization of the police, like just like the big whole fucking machine, and like.
Yeah, they say we are the military.
Yeah, we basically are the military. I saw a post on Reddit the other day. It was that cool ass train in Japan that's like upside down, like under the highway. And one of the comments was, "How come we don't have cool shit like that in America?" And the rebuttal comment was, "Because your government spends all its money on harassing its citizens and shit like that." And I was like, "Holy shit!" I mean, I guess, yeah, like.
Controversial.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry, I went on a.
No, it's
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man, do you guys remember the scene where the guy who introduced Ed 209 and the guy who created RoboCop are in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Did anyone notice that the guy who released Ed 209 literally just took a shit, walked to the sink, did not wash his hands, and rubbed his hand? I saw that. I rewound. Did this guy wash his hands? I need to know. There was no cuts. He didn't wash his hands, and I was completely disgusted.
That's so funny.
Yeah. The actor was.
I didn't notice that, but that scene is funny.
Ridiculous.
Great scene, dude.
So what do you say? You mess with the wrong guy, buddy boy, or some shit.
Buddy boy. It's just so...
And then he rubs his hand through his hair. I was like, what is happening, dude?
Yeah, he's standing on the opposite side of him. He walks around him. The guy has to turn around.
He's like taking a shit with no door. Like he's just out there.
And then everyone somehow knows. Everyone else is taking a piss. One guy pisses his pants practically.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that they have to get out of the saloon before the two cowboys get into it. It's absurd. It's so stupid.
It was really interesting, the buddy boy thing, because and I was kind of trying to think about this as the movie unfolded, but they have the conversation about, no, I've called him an asshole and a shithead or whatever they say, right? But there's still respect there.
Respect, yeah.
But when the true enemies of each other in the movie, like RoboCop and the guy from That 70s Show and the
Clarence
maker and the other executive, they call each other buddy. It happens more than once. They never call them like dickhead or asshole. It's always buddy or some variation of that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Oh man.
Keep
How
your
about
enemies
the
close.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The cocaine factory. How beautiful was that? Just there's just an assembly line where they're dropping cocaine into what looks like graduated cylinders and beakers. There's just what the fuck is even going on? Is that
Dude, I was getting like OCD. All this there's like falling off the sides and shit. I'm like, there's wasting.
I don't know about cocaine production. I would imagine that it's not done in that way.
Your margins could be much higher.
Right, yeah.
Dude, that was so funny. And then Red, what's his name? Damn it, Clarence. Clarence, when he's talking to the guy who is it the guy who runs that cocaine factory?
Yeah,
What is it? Like his name is Richard, and then
Dick.
Yeah, and he keeps calling him Dick like through the whole thing, and then when he mentions like, we're building this brand new city, and it's gonna be fresh territory for you to run. And he's like, oh, okay then, Richard. Like he changes.
That was good.
Yeah, it's like this guy's so fucking funny.
Brings another like really again we talked about how this movie is very silly. But it talks about like really big topics that we're struggling with. What we've always been struggling with is gentrification, about getting a community that is, seemingly bad, like the whole Gotham City type of thing. We're gonna wipe this whole place out. We're gonna build homes that are way expensive, that all the poor people are gonna be forced out. And that's what the CEOs and everything is trying to do. So it's still cool that this movie understands how cheesy it is, but it's bringing up these very complex topics that are still so relevant today. Where it's fun. It's funny to see that, but it's also like there's still something to be said.
Mhm.
It's not just a silly, stupid movie.
Yeah,
Right.
That's what I was saying. Like, like militarization of the police, like all that stuff. Like
Right.
it's very
Big topic.
like
We're
shit.
still
That's a big thing here in Albuquerque. Like why do you need to have like when we had all those Trump, what was that protests and stuff like that, all the freaking police with the big old like riot shields and shit like that. It's like, why do you need that stuff? And that's like a conversation that they're still having today. Like, why would you need the big ass fucking robot that has big ass bazooka arms on it? You know, like
Yeah.
there's got to be
Timeless
another way.
social issue topics.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, this movie was. I mean, again,
surprising.
I've only seen it once, but there's way more than just what meets the eye of a cheesy '80s action sci-fi flick.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's why the words cheesy and silly and stuff didn't even like pop into my head. It's just like this is just straight up satire. Like they're making fun of like these crazy subjects and shit, you know?
yeah,
It's really good.
yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
true.
I feel like Idiocracy is a harder satire, though. Maybe it's a more relevant one. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe it was super relevant in its day, and
The movie
Idiocracy is newer.
Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I do get like the cheesy feeling stuff. I think that holds true for me still. But what it made me was more excited to go and see other cheesy 80s movies. Like maybe
Oh,
there's
yeah.
more of these out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh yeah.
No, when I was watching this, I was like, the whole time I was watching this, there was times where I was just literally laughing out loud. I watched it alone, and I was like, this is just funny. And why haven't I seen this before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the Battleship game commercial.
Yes!
Oh my
Whatever
god, nukes.
Nukem.
Yeah.
Whatever they
They
were
get
saying,
you.
dude.
I was like, oh my god.
The shit they
By
were
the way-
saying was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pakistan is doing this. Yeah. By the way, this is a commercial, mind you, in a 3-minute news production. So like the news
The
plays for 45
capitalism.
seconds, and you have a commercial right in the middle of that,
Yeah.
which again talks about like just capitalism in general, and it's there's so much more, and I really love that.
Yeah.
We could
That's-
beat a dead horse all day, but
That's definitely where I can see the more satire angle. Like
mhm.
and it was so well done. It was like
Sure
amazingly
was.
done.
Yeah, it really, really was.
Yeah, the humor held up really well.
It
It's-
did. It did. But oh man, just the one-liners. The one-liners were fucking.
Dude,
Mhm.
Can
I
you
love
fly, Bobby?
Yeah!
He fucking yeeted.
Oh,
And then,
I'm-
your move, creep.
Dude,
Okay.
I laughed every time they said "fucking," what is it? I'd buy that for $1.
I'd
bro.
buy that
Fucking
for
commercial.
$1.
I laughed every time. So good.
Oh shit! It's funny, and that's like that. I'd buy that for $1. It goes back to everything's for sale. Everything's for sale. Like
Right.
your entire life is for sale.
What is he even talking about? He's with two.
Two girls.
Women.
I don't know. He's gonna
Yeah.
buy them. I don't know. He'd buy that for $1. I don't know. And I've
Right,
heard that's what Groundhog Day was missing. Like those one-liners.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah.
I'd buy that for $1. I've heard that like a million times, and I'm just like, what? Is this where this come from? Is it where it comes from? I don't know. I didn't look it up. But,
I don't
know.
even know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked every time they showed that. They would always like make a point to show the people watching it were just
Yeah.
laughing their fucking asses off at that, and it just felt like not like bad acting or weird laughing or anything, but like they were just like, this is how media is. Like they're like kind of brainwashed to be like,
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
what's
It's a weird
interesting-
thing.
They were always watching that guy. Yeah.
The two people that laugh at that is the store clerk, who is your average small business owner, everyday guy who completely thinks that type of humor is hilarious. And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's just this like hardened criminal who is sitting on the street watching that, who also thinks it's hilarious. So it's just that's what people think is like that's
Yeah,
the societal funny.
Everybody's
that-
watching.
Right.
Yeah, it's by
There's
far.
a
so
lot
interesting.
of that in Idiocracy.
Right.
and it's way more than those. But yeah,
I need to watch Idiocracy again. I watched it in film crit in like 10th grade, but
yeah,
it's
still funny.
it's
Dude.
yeah, just knowing quotes from that movie alone is electrolytes what plants crave kind of thing. It's good. That movie has a lot of single one-liners. We need to do that at some point.
We should. There, it does. Now that Taryn's like saying satire, yeah, it makes more sense. It's like a smarter satire,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where Idiocracy is just like, hey, look at me, like it's that
Right.
kind of comedy, and this is like, serious but cheesy.
They're still
but
telling a
touching on
story.
the-
They're still making
Yeah.
Right.
it.
Exactly.
Like I said, it's fun to watch. They still make it fun.
Like I said before, I really do want to go find more of these. Like, and I know that there's 80s movies that are considered cheesy, but I want the whole thing, right? I want the cheesiness. I want the
Yeah.
real touch on stuff. If there's more of that, I'd love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know that there's a shortage of cheesy 80s movies.
There's 10 whole years of them.
Yeah. All right, where were we in the film? So let's see. So I think what's interesting is kind of starting to see. I mean, we've skipped forward. We've kind of gone around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Those shots are definitely kicking in. But I think it's important to
Cheers,
bring
brother.
up the point where we have Robocop entering in his house and him
Oh,
waking
man.
up from that thing. There's like that polygraph test that is just monitoring whatever the fuck Robocops do when they sleep.
It's like a dream.
Which I didn't know that they had to sleep. I guess they didn't. Didn't they say?
Yeah,
it
he
was
was
20
dreaming. Yeah, that he was dreaming.
20 hours, whatever it is. So yeah, he wakes up and he's just walks off and finds where his old house was. It's like for sale. It's just
It's abandoned
watching
and
him,
shit.
which is so interesting. I had this weird feeling. So all of us have obviously not lived in the same house our whole lives. When you move out of a house and you're like, or an apartment, whatever it is, and you're walking through the emptiness of what was your life, and you see everything that's gone. I felt that during this
Yeah.
scene. It was just like you see, like, oh, like this is where I used to have this. This is where I used to do this every day. This is, and like he's walking through it, and his humanity is like remembering that.
That's
And
what
it was
was
just
so
like-
fucked up, dude. That's what made it just so
Yeah, dude.
It was
so
I related
so
to that. This
believable.
weird,
Like so, like it just that split between real and unreal. What who's to say? What was that
Right.
quote you said? The memories make us who we are, right?
right?
something
What
like
are we
that.
if not our memories? Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was just like that was really like impactful in this satire movie, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
how like why are they doing this so good like right now? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
I didn't come here to feel.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought it was interesting when, like, previously in the movie, they showed his wife. I need to talk to you, and she's all serious and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, something.
Yeah.
It ended in a bad way, right?
Fuck. Yeah.
And then when he's going
Exactly.
through his house, it's just like, she's so serious. She's like, I love you. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That felt so out of place.
No, it didn't. It was just like fuck. He had everything and he's dead now, man.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
He's
yeah. It made it more
fucking
feel to
dead.
it. Felt weird in the moment.
And
yeah.
now
What did he
he's
say?
struggling to try to come back to his former reality. It's
His
fuck.
kid.
What did he,
Man,
what did he
fuck.
say when he was at the metal scrapyard where he was like fixing himself and he was talking about his family? I think he said, "I don't remember them, but I can feel them."
Yeah.
And it was like this
I can
thing
feel
that
them,
was
but I
just
can't remember them.
yeah, it was just like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Damn.
This is so heavy for such a. I wasn't expecting that. Like, I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
expecting
yeah.
to come here to like, damn, this is complex for sure.
Yeah, all of these elements
Yeah.
straight up elevated this movie for me. Like
Oh, yeah.
overall.
Really
Oh
did.
yeah.
They
It
really,
didn't
really,
take
really did.
anything away from it. I was like, damn, this is fucking onions. And not just crying, it's because it has layers. Shrek? Should we watch Shrek?
Shrek, man, yeah.
And then Trek next time.
Shrek would be a great one, though. I think.
Oh man, animation is hard to look at.
There's a lot there though, similar to this.
Yeah, satire. Yeah, satire for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Okay, so that's towards the end of the movie where he unscrews his mask, revealing that he looks exactly like Macaulay Culkin.
stop. He doesn't.
Stop.
Stop.
Macaulay Culkin knows it. He like plays part of.
He's gonna
Anyway.
he's gonna take over.
Okay,
this
what do you
role.
guys think of this guy's acting? Do you like? I didn't know he was an actor before. I thought like when I was watching it, I was like, they definitely picked this guy because of the way his under his
half.
nose looks.
Yeah,
You know
he
what I
has
mean?
very sunken in cheeks, and it's like,
His lips are very unique.
and then they like shoot
Like-
the eye, and his eyes like really blue. It's like
Like
very.
he just didn't seem
intense.
like a high caliber actor in this movie. Like I think he actually is. I don't really know, but it just didn't seem like it.
I don't know.
I don't know that he is. I
But
think
he
might-
did really good at being a fucking robot. Like the way he
Yeah.
moved and like talked and stuff. It was
But
really
I didn't
good.
feel like he was like because you linked the KFC commercial, and he's not all.
That's him.
That's him.
No,
That's-
that's his voice. It's not
okay.
acting,
Okay.
It's his voice.
I was like, he's not that bad. Like in the movie, is it very choppy? I can't
Yeah.
even remember. Was it?
yeah,
thought it
his
felt
head
more
would move
fluid.
separate and stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
really? Huh.
So for those of you,
He
who
was
don't
like,
know-
go ahead.
For those of you who don't know, KFC launched an ad campaign that featured RoboCop as the Colonel.
The Robo Colonel.
Last year, randomly.
Last
2019.
year.
There's nothing else to say. You could probably Google Robo Colonel or RoboCop KFC, and it made me crave KFC. But
Yeah, Peter Weller's actually
Oh, they didn't
reprising his
an
role.
effective ad campaign for sure.
Yeah.
Which is weird
But-
because the remake came out in 2014 and they released it 5 years later.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, I've never seen the remake. I forgot.
dude, so they have there's RoboCop the original and then 2 and 3, right? And then there's the 2014 remake. There is a show. Did you guys
There's
know
a
that?
few shows.
Yeah,
There's like 4 fucking shows.
well, and then like a comic series apparently. The show was
Holy
bought
shit.
by like some Canadian company. It was like released in Canada originally or something, and it only had 1 season, so I'm assuming it probably didn't do amazingly. But interesting that it's huge. Like it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Was it that popular back then?
I guess so. I think the show came out probably in the 90s if it was 87 when the original movie was released.
A
But
couple were like
Wow.
late 90s. I was like, why? It just felt like a weird time to bring it back, you know?
Yeah.
right.
The newest
So
RoboCop
long
thing
after.
is going to be this Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday. Mr. Weller is reprising his role as RoboCop in Mortal Kombat as a DLC character.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
and,
it's
and
okay.
he's gonna
So
have a whole bunch of fucking skins. So like the Macaulay Culkin skin, they have
Oh,
that
oh, great.
one. They have the
No one's gonna
the
play that
regular
shit.
one, dude. Everyone, I was reading the comments. They were like, "Yeah, we got the fucking mask off one." Like everyone was hyped for
What?
that. Yeah,
That's
everyone was
crazy.
really
Right?
hyped for that one.
yeah. So
Yeah.
back to the extended universe, I guess. In the comics, there's like a really popular comic where RoboCop fights the Terminator.
Ooh.
Oh.
And
Wow.
in Mortal Kombat 11, I was watching like some videos about the RoboCop character in that, and like a lot of them were like RoboCop versus Terminator fighting each other, and like they have voice lines. It's like, I don't think I've met you, and it's like we most definitely have met before, or some shit like that. I was like, damn, that's crazy.
Dude, I feel like I'm missing out on so many things by not having read the amount of comics that I feel like I should have by now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just because
Yeah.
we just missed them when we were born and they weren't really like as big growing up, I feel like we could be hitting on so many more things if we just took the time.
I have 2 brothers that are very into comics who were born in the 80s or like late 70s, early 80s, and they are just leagues ahead of me in
Lore.
Marvel knowledge, DC knowledge, just comic books in general, and I'm just like I literally don't know anything about any of this.
Yeah.
And I have attention span that I can't even read a comic book
Yeah.
because
I've read like a handful of graphic novels that are really good,
Mhm.
and like I've gotten those coming out of the way. But comic wise, I used to get a bunch of comics. There was a shop here in town that would give you could go and get like a certain amount of free comics per A you got on your report card. So I would
Oh.
just go get like a Yeah, I would go get like a mystery bag of comics and then the grade ones. But I never like sat down and like read through them, I think the way I should have. And maybe it's because they were just a bunch of random shit that I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like volume 1 of 30. It's like, I
Yeah.
didn't get the whole story. It's like, what's the point?
But I did get the Infinity Gauntlet series from that shop that we went to eat with Levi at.
Yeah.
And
This was cool.
it was really good. The comics were like really good, like way better than the movie. I think if they would have done it how the comic was, it would have been so much cooler.
Dude, that shit's crazy. Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
can't read comics; they hurt my eyes. You guys gotta think it's weird. Like I could read mangas. I don't know why the art style of someone like those other comic books looks weird to me. I don't fucking know why. Maybe I'm just a weeb.
I'm like never super good at this stuff.
You can only read backwards. That's fine.
Yeah, I
That's
can
cool.
only read.
Right. Learn to read Japanese, and I can't go any other way. Which is fitting for your flag that says Saturdays are for the boys in reverse.
Yeah, he just got it printed that way.
Yeah, well,
Easy
he
press.
tried to buy the
easy to
original.
confirm,
He
yeah.
didn't understand.
Yeah.
All right. So RoboCop has discovered his bit of humanity, what is left of it, and now he is on a vendetta to kill Kurtwood Smith's character, Clarence.
And all his goons, I guess.
Goons, yeah. He blazes through the cocaine factory, which is just so ridiculous that everyone doesn't just completely shit their pants and then run. They're just
Cool
like,
scene.
we've shot him for 14 minutes. Let's
Yeah.
keep shooting him because maybe it'll work. And yeah, he books him, which was great. It was, again, this kind of brings it back to like just the whole Western thing where it's just so it's so like removed from who they are, where you have RoboCop who is turning in one of the hardest criminals in the entire city, and he just tosses him into the police station and he says, "Book him." And they're just like,
Oh, is that
"Book his
Clarence?"
charge." And he's just like, "He's a cop killer," and he just leaves. And it's just like,
And that, like, I like that because
it's like I wanted to hear Spurs as he walked out, where
the fucking
because-
saloon doors.
right, yeah, you know.
I like that because it gave the cops, what is it? Like, they showed a side of RoboCop to the actual cops that they never saw before. Like, it's like,
Right.
oh, he cares that this guy killed cops or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
because at the end they're trying to defend him, you know, or whatever. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some other crazy shit happens.
Wait, while he's getting Clarence, I wonder if this movie has a record for the most glass panes broken in one movie. He throws them through like 5 fucking windows, dude.
Yeah.
Which is
So he
hilarious.
won't
That he
stop.
there's no compunction at all in killing every other criminal in the entire warehouse.
Yeah.
Clarence, he's like, I can't kill you because I have a code of ethics, and it's just, it's ridiculous. But it works.
It works.
It's funny because
Worked.
I didn't even notice. I
He
didn't realize
killed-
that he killed everyone else.
Everyone.
Yeah.
He kills everyone, and it's which, by the way, we haven't talked about this. His gun is so fucking cool.
Dude,
I was
okay.
gonna say that.
His gun
Humongous.
looks like that gun from that anime I was talking about, Psychopaths.
It does.
It's
You're
fucking
right.
I don't
so
know, I've
similar.
never
It's
seen
so fucking cool. I love
It's
it.
the coolest fucking thing ever. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so that documentary I was talking about earlier, they brought that up. It was like they wanted I think it was the Israeli Desert Eagle had just come out before that movie or whatever, and they wanted to use that as his gun. But it looked too small and it looked like a toy in his hand. So like, fuck, we need to make something better than this. So they had this
Big-ass
guy like
barrel.
design this crazy ass gun that actually like fired blanks and shit. It was really
Wow.
cool.
What?
Oh, wow.
So sick.
Would you like triple taps too? Like
Yeah, it's like a burst fire. He's like,
Fire, dude.
so it has 3, 7 bursts and then like full auto or something. I was
Oh
like,
my
okay.
god! And then he can
Damn.
still spin that shit. So
Yeah.
cool, man. It's
Yeah.
such a. It's what you want in a sci-fi cowboy, like just the the good guys getting the bad
Signature
guys.
weapon, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
God,
good.
and that fucking compartment that we were talking about on his leg that just slides out. And we haven't mentioned his footsteps. Okay, Taryn mentioned the sound in this movie, that it wanted an award for the sound, right?
Academy Award.
An Academy Award for the sound. His footsteps are so satisfying. Like you just
Oh,
feel
That
it.
bass. Yeah, dude.
It's so good, and it's just like, oh man, I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah,
Dude, yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah, all the sound
Well-deserved
effects.
award.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so all the sound effects when he's moving is like zzz, zzz, like that stuff.
Mhm.
It was all made by a VCR and like I forget what the other machine is, but it's basically like a similar kind of thing. Just a
Yes.
fucking VCR,
So cool,
dude.
man.
Damn.
So cool.
That is awesome.
Perfectly
Yeah,
80s, dude.
Dude, that's like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because what
Amazing.
which goes to show, their
lightsaber
budget
lightsaber
not
is like
huge.
a TV.
was that?
Oh yeah. it's like the-
Lightsaber hum is like a TV or something humming.
Oh,
that
really?
makes, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Sounds right. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. Which makes sense. The budget for this movie was 13 million, which I mean, even for the time was not a lot. Their box office was definitely a net positive. So they did like, it's cool to hear just the crafty ways that they could like incorporate something that sounds so fucking cool and badass, and it's just, yeah, that
Oh,
was
I
a
love
toast
that shit,
that we
dude.
had on in the back. Like, it's really cool. Okay, so we have, where were we? He throws Clarence into the police station. Clarence is just like, I'm in the higher up, like he's in cahoots with the higher ups, where
With Dick.
basically untouchable. Yeah, Dick. Yeah, and then where do we go from there?
He fucking goes to what's his name? The Bob Morton or whatever. He goes to his house and kills him with the fucking grenade.
Oh, yeah, with a
or whatever.
grenade.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
was-
Shoots him in the legs, dude.
He's so
Jesus.
cool.
Yeah.
He just like
Again,
he grabs the name.
Oh, yeah.
and then he takes the fucking
tongue.
pin out with his tongue.
yeah, it's like he's like trying to tie a
Sets
cherry
it
knot.
down.
I love
Cherry
it,
stem or
dude.
something.
Walks
Which is
out
a-
nonchalantly.
Another
cool.
scene where it's just like you kind of feel like, okay, like he busts in, it's just like, all right, what's gonna happen? It's like bam, 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 blasts him 4 times in the legs. You're like, Jesus Christ, what? Whoa, hold the
Yeah,
phone.
I wasn't expecting that guy to die or anything.
No, yeah, he's just
Yeah.
like, no, we're not fucking around. I'm shooting you 4 times in the legs. I'm gonna put on a DVD about how I'm gonna.
Like 30 screens that you
I know.
have.
Goes to his whole house.
He, pulls out a stopwatch and then pulls the pin on a grenade with his fucking tongue, places it, walks out, and it's just cool guys don't look at explosions. See ya, Dusted.
Yeah, shout out to what's his name, Kurtwood Smith,
Kurtwood Smith.
because he's just like this balding guy, he's like whatever. But he's actually menacing in this movie. The way he acts
yeah.
is so
Yeah.
weird.
Again, I mean, that if you've just seen him in that 70s show like I have,
Mhm.
he is this father figure that's just a, kind of just an asshole, and he's going to put his foot up your ass. But in this movie, he hits so many levels of a bad guy. He's an asshole. He has this weird comedic element to him in some weird way, but also he's a total creep to women.
Yeah.
And like he delivers that. Like Terrence said, he's balding, which is
He's a coward. Like he has a lot of levels, like you said.
cowardly.
Yeah, he sells out his boss like
Yeah.
immediately.
Sells out his boss. He gets all scared. Like don't
gets
kill
all
me.
of
Don't kill me.
All of these elements of what a bad guy
Yeah.
is, in kind of the what seems like a more real world
Real
element.
bad guy.
Yeah,
And he hits these characters. Kurtwood Smith, probably best actor I think of this film for me.
Yeah.
Did such a good job, such a fucking good job. Granted, I've never seen him in anything other than a 70s show, but phenomenal.
when he's getting booked and he's fucking spits on their ledger. So just give me my fucking phone call. Like
yeah.
it's just like so back and forth between
He knows
being
he's fine.
cowering and this
He's
and
a
that.
fearless coward, which is the
Yeah.
only person I can think of that does that in like in any kind of show or movie or anything, is Penguin from DC, from Batman. Is like, if any of you watched Gotham, which is a a show about like Batman when he was a kid. Penguin, that character is a fucking coward, but he's like so intelligent, he's so smart, and he has like all of these like just evil, menacing things about him, where it just feels so much more real about how real villains would kind of climb the ranks and like be who they kind of are, is having that level of cowardness and fear of like, you know, the people above them, but also just being so backstabbing. And
Yeah, it's interesting because like
very
the
complicated.
cowardice feels like they know how to work these people, like they know what they're doing, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah, it's crazy.
not real fear. It's a fake fear that comes from something that is a strive to like reach the top of some crazy fucking empire. I don't know. It's again fucking crazy here. Sorry, but yeah, it's
good
cool.
villains in this movie.
Good villains, good
Yeah.
villains. Cheesy, but good, just like this entire movie.
That was another scene that I thought like, oh, the timer's gonna get to 1, and then something's gonna happen where it's not gonna explode, and it just fucking explodes.
Yeah.
The grenade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Why
badass.
was he like a crazy like cokehead partier guy? Like who was like
He's
that was
just
weird.
he's full of himself.
There is
Yeah.
money, there is drugs, dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Once this podcast comes, like
Um,
pops up, I'm out of here. You're gonna have to.
Shit.
No.
No.
Kind of like
You lose all your sponsors right there, man.
Yeah, he was full of himself. He thought he was the toughest shit, you know, talking shit to his
Right.
boss and shit.
Right.
Like,
well, I think it's
thought he was
you know,
unstoppable.
the like
Damn.
exec head honcho kind of culture is largely framed that way in a lot of movies, like American Psycho and shit. It's similar. It's like cocaine and like bitches the whole time.
Yeah.
That's just what they roll with.
And it's also the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so flash forward a little bit. We have, gosh, where were we? So the guy who basically created Robocop is dusted. Robocop is, it feels like his vendetta was kind of completed when after he captured Clarence. I was like, this is the climax of the film. This is where like he's gonna end it, and it's just gonna be like, yay, Robocop's amazing. But of course, Robocop is incorporated so much into the politics of what the mega corporation is. What's the name of it's like
OCP.
Omni Consumers
OCP.
Productions, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have not seen the end of Clarence. And then Clarence gets his hands on these ridiculous 50 cal looking weapons.
They're the fucking
Gauss rifles or something.
snipers from
Huge
Halo,
knives.
dude.
Yeah,
Just-
they
They're
do
the
look like
snipers from Halo.
They really do, but they also have like a 50 cal type of look to them. It's hilarious, and everyone wants to shoot one. The cops are on strike at this point, so there's just the city is in riots. I mean, a lot of this is just kind of bringing me back to like, this is Gotham City. Like, this is just like this crazy dystopian place where there's no fucking law.
Yeah, we need some outside force to fix it.
Right. They need the Robocop.
I need to watch that show. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
It-
Well,
it's
just
really bad.
I mean, Batman in general has phenomenal villains, but
Right.
yeah. So
So what is it? RoboCop goes to where does he go? And then he gets
He
fucking
goes to
blasted.
he goes to like that tower where the fucking CEO is, and the CEO.
Oh
is just,
right. Yeah.
He's the number 2, and he's just like, okay, arrest me, and that's when what's the number 4? The directive number 4 takes place. You find out that RoboCop is not invincible, and he has a weakness. His kryptonite, where he cannot arrest corporate executives, which is his kryptonite, which is amazing. Yeah, so he fights an Ed 209, pretty much, which is hilarious that the Ed 209 is this hyper advanced robot that cannot figure out stairs.
Dude, that
Yeah.
fucking cracked me up,
So
dude.
hilarious. And the Ed 209 has this thing where it's just it's like an animal. It's not human.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking wild boar.
Yeah.
where
it's more
cries,
aggressive than it is.
and
like,
it doesn't have a brain. It just has this like caveman brain where it just like looks at these stairs and it's like, and it has these like crazy shrieks.
It sounds like
so
it sounds like an
funny.
animal too, doesn't it? Yeah.
It
it
literally
makes fucking
does. It
like
has
T-Rex
bro-
noises and shit.
Right. And it's funny at the end scene where you have RoboCop who meets another Ed 209. I swear, before he pulls out the 50 cal thing, whatever it is, I thought he was just gonna walk down a flight of stairs and it was just gonna completely
Stand there looking at him.
Right, but that didn't happen.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So he beats the Ed 209's ass. Cool fight scene, which was fun. Then he goes outside to see the entire police force. Well, most of the police force, a lot of them are on strike or not down with that. They're in the parking garage, and there's a shootout. He's about to die. And his trusty sidekick, Officer Ann, takes him away to the scrap metal yard. Yeah, kind of going towards the end of the movie a little bit more. What else happened here?
All I can think of is the acid guy, dude.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say.
fucked up.
So they have the four goons kind of in their van again, and they're trying to just completely blast RoboCop with their huge rifles. One of the guys who was the guy who's on the motorcycle, he drives into a humongous vat of just beautifully labeled toxic waste. I swear that the scene had to be. They were like, we already paid our makeup artists for the whole day. Let's just make some guy run into some toxic waste and make him look disgusting.
Dude, his
And
thumb,
there's
his like
80.
fingernail just like falling off like down here. I was like, this
Yeah.
is gross. This is fucked up.
That shit was so cool. That was the coolest shit I've seen.
Everyone's all grossed out, just like, oh god, runs
Yeah.
away.
Everything's disgusting. We have Clarence run over him in his car.
He just
Yeah.
fucking
He explodes.
liquefies, dude.
Liquefies.
Jesus.
explodes,
Brutal.
and then we have the crane scene where one of the goons drops just a bunch of scrap metal onto RoboCop. Officer Ann blasts the guy in the crane, and then Clarence. That was kind of a crazy scene where Clarence has like that lead pipe thing, where he's swinging at him and then stabs him in the heart, and you're like, holy shit, like, this is it. But RoboCop uses his, mind you, this is his USB port, which he
Oh, I forgot about that, dude. It was
he
dope.
hacked computers with this spike in his arm, where it looks like he's about to fucking slash murder everyone in that police office. And he's just like, actually, I'm just updating my drivers.
Yeah. I'm just downloading my file. See who I am real quick.
He stabs Clarence straight in the jugular. There's blood squirting out everywhere.
So good.
So it's so good. I loved it so much. And then we've talked a little bit. We talked about the end scene where he just says, "You're fired," and now RoboCop can seek his vengeance and actually defeat the evil that is the OCP. And then that's kind of where you really see the humanity of RoboCop, where he says his name is Murphy. He has some aspect of that left in whatever he is at the point. So now is no better time than to jump right into our ratings. What we thought about this movie, what we rate it, what are our ending thoughts about this. So I went first last time. I don't want to go first again. I'm gonna.
Nose goes, oh!
I go first. I'll go first.
Aaron's got it.
Dude, like I said at the beginning, this movie surprised the hell out of me. I was like, people talk about the Terminator, Predator, Alien, like all these big 80s action movies. No one, I feel like RoboCop gets left out of that. And I was like, that's probably because maybe it's not that good or whatever, but like this movie surprised the shit out of me, dude. It was really good.
Yeah.
The humor was fucking on point even today. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I loved the cheesy one-liners. I love the end where you're fired all this shit. I think I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Extremely solid.
Nice. All right. So Taryn with an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. Starting strong.
Who's next? Let's go, Jay. Look like you're ready, Jay.
All right, I can go. Fine.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, similarly, I was surprised. I thought there was a lot of really great parts, really funny parts. Like the Newcomb commercial was just amazing. All those things that they just threw in, I think really just did it for me. I don't want to give it like a super high rating because I feel like, part of me feels like, oh, it's too cheesy to be given like a high rating, but it's really good.
You.
I feel like it's so smart
Let it
about
take
it,
you,
though.
man. Just go along with the ride, dude.
I think it's, for me, like, it's in the same, group as Taryn. I think it's like an 8.7 for me. That's what feels right.
It goes higher. What the fuck?
8.7. I don't want to give it a 9, but I don't want to give it an 8,
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We're going to James next.
Wow. First time viewer here. Blown away by this movie. I was like, what the hell? I couldn't stop laughing. And Jacqueline was like,
Yeah.
You really were laughing at that movie, weren't you? And I was like, yeah, those one-liners. Can you fly, Bobby? Oh, God, that shit was so good. But, like, that wasn't, like, the thing that really sold me on this movie. It was more of what the movie was trying to say, and it, like, kind of hit me more on a personal level. Like I said earlier, working in the criminal justice field, and when I was working in the halfway house, people would actually call some of us Robocop. And
Wow.
I didn't, and it was kind of like a derogatory term, kind of like a,
Oh, you follow the rules too much or something.
you are to the T, like you are down to the T. They always called one guy Robocop. I was hardly ever a Robocop because I felt like I was more chill than a lot of these other guys. But and I didn't really know like what I heard of Robocop. We've all heard of it, but I didn't know what that meant. And like, I don't even think they were using that right, because Robocop had that fight between the laws. What does it say? His 3 things, but he was also getting pulled by his humanity and his impulses and what he wanted to do. And I just thought that was so cool. Like that's something that like people who are working in that field have to deal with every day. I had one teacher who made us watch it was an actual documentary of this guy who stole from a store and he did all these bad things, and the jury got together and they had to decide whether they were going to put this guy in jail or not. But on further like inspection on this guy's life, he had a history of abuse, mental health issues. If he was going to get put into jail, it would have just been another number, It wouldn't have served the community any better. It probably wouldn't have helped him. He probably needed to go to a mental facility, right? Like he didn't need to go to jail. And there was one guy on the jury who was just like, no, we followed the rules. It doesn't like, you do X and Y, it equals Z. Like that's the law. Like you do these 2 things. And
robot law.
Yeah, so he was kind of a RoboCop, like, and everyone else on the jury was just like, no, like this, like, there's all these different circumstances. Oh, I actually messed that whole thing up. He was mentally disabled. Like he was like didn't understand like most things, like a normal human was. That was what it was. It was, yeah. He just didn't understand, and like that guy was like, no, he stole, he's going to jail, like, or he's like this and that, and everybody else was kind of like, no, like there's just all these different things, And that's like very interesting to me. Like I'm always into that kind of stuff, like just the balance between what is written and what is right. And
Right.
I don't know, I have talks about this, about like, okay, let's go into sports. Like people say, well, maybe the referees should all be robots. That way we can always have the perfect thing happen, you know, like the perfect call. Like, oh, that's not a strike. Like maybe the ball was a little bit out of the little fake square that the umpire sees. If you had a robot, they would fucking tell you 100% of the time that it's right. Right?
Right.
Or like maybe Michael Jordan might have not won a ring with that push off that he did. Anybody watching that? Yeah. See, maybe if we had robots watching that shit and computers analyzing,
Right.
they would have said, "Oh, technical foul." But like that's not what
Yeah. Always a
being
gray area.
that's not what being human is. You always have to have the human element. You always have to look at all the situations, the heat of the moment, the balls in Jordan's hands, the clock's winding down, and you know, and whatever. Like it's
Right.
just, it's, I don't know, that, and this movie like made me think of all those things, and that's so fucking cool. I love that,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like that's just so
How much
cool.
do you love it, Dan? What do you rate?
I
Where you
love it enough to say 8.6. That's my
at?
review.
8.6.
I thought I was gonna be on the high side. I'm a little so far. Goddamn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we've had everything above an 8. So for me,
Kill me, baby. Kill me.
Before I had watched this movie, I you know a little bit about Robocop, what you think that it's going to be and what it is, and I was just like, initially I was just like, this movie is probably going to be like, you know, a 7.25.
Yeah, I was like 6. So I was like, this looks like this
Yeah,
is
it's
probably gonna
it's gonna be
suck.
fun. There's gonna be some pop culture references.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some fun things to kind of riff on in this movie. And watching it and seeing the big issues that they're bringing up, you know, the over corporatization, the capitalism, the
Oh, yeah, all
gentrification,
that.
morality dichotomy, the thing about you know, what is the singularity and what makes us human and what are our memories, and really going into like and trying to, and again, I just watched this movie earlier today. I haven't even slept on this movie. But seeing all of those things introduced into something that I initially thought was going to be just a cheesy movie, and it kind of was. It kind of was just a cheesy movie, but it still had so much more to say. And you know, there's something to be said about the writing. The writing, there was some like maybe overly cheesy writing. The acting wasn't always phenomenal. The CG, even for its time and its budget, sometimes wasn't great. There were some points toward the middle of the movie that I was just like, I'm finding myself looking at my phone, which is probably a bad sign for a movie. Like, you know, as far as the pacing goes, you know, again, to go into the pacing, the beginning was very strong, the end was very strong. Middle, maybe I lost a little bit. But overall, this movie surprised me. And I honestly, again, I was going to rate this movie a lot lower before I really watched it and thought about it. But I'm going to go with a solid 8.3.
Okay.
That's where I land on this. I really,
Okay.
I mean, I loved it. It was a good movie. Maybe it lost me a little bit. So let's see. We have an 8.5 from Taryn, an 8.7 from Jay, an 8.6 from James, and an 8.3 from me.
We're all ballpark. We're all
We are at a collective 8.525. So right at an 8.5.
It's pretty good.
Good to me.
It's a good movie, and I completely am satisfied with that rating.
That's a B,
but
guys.
we would love to know what you guys rate this movie, what you thought about this. Was there anything that we missed? Was there any really big one-liners that we left out? And we are now trying to decide what movie we should do next. Stick around for the after show if you're watching us live. We may discuss what's going on there.
Yeah.
But other than that, thanks so much for tuning in, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.